Hey guys, it's Krista Watson here from Krista Quilts, and in this video I'm going to show you two different free motion quilting designs that are stitched very similarly, but they look completely different. Be sure to take a look at ribbon loops and Harlequin. Detailed diagrams for both of these can be found in my book, 99 Machine Quilting Designs. Now you can follow along with me as I sketch out the design and then stitch them out on a practice sample. Want to join me? Let's get to it. The curving ribbon loops is design number 86, and modern geometric Harlequin is design number 87, both from my book. For my ribbon loop sketching plan, I'm basically going to stitch opposite loops in one direction, and then I'm going to go back and echo either inside or outside the other loop. This is what I basically think of as like a reverse roller coaster, where I go from one side to the other and then I come back all the way. You can make them big or you can make them small. Now let's say I was actually stitching this as a border in a quilt. I'll kind of draw this, obviously not to scale. And let's say I had a seam line. I'm basically going to start in the seam line and I'm going to do loops all the way around the quilt as a border, but I'm not worrying about the exact number of loops. Once I get back to the beginning, I'm going to reverse directions and then do the little loops inside or outside of each one. Don't worry about perfection here, just add this fun texture with a little bit of elegance. The key to quilting a successful ribbon loop design is switching directions as I stitch each loop. First, I will quilt a larger size loop clockwise, and then I'll stitch one counterclockwise. This is similar to another design where I quilt smaller meandering random loops all over the place, but for this design where I'm going to echo the design to create the ribbon, a larger circle is going to give me more room to work. So once I get to the end of one line of stitching, I'm going to retrace my steps and echo my way back over my previous quilting until I get to the other side of the line. When I'm stitching these out, these are really great for sashing and borders, but the important thing is that I'm not trying to stitch an exact number of loops as I go. And because this is free motion quilting, my feed dogs are dropped, so I can really stitch in any direction, but I want to maintain a nice consistent movement as I'm stitching. So I'll quilt some more ribbon loops and you can see how it all looks together. I'm eyeballing the distance of each echo line, but you could use the width of your foot as a guideline if you wanted to. To draw out my quilting plan for Harlequin, first I'm going to sketch out a couple of lines that represent seam lines on my quilt. And I can use these to kind of tell me how wide I want to make my Harlequin. So first thing I'm doing is I'm drawing out some zigzags and then I'm going back and forth to finish it all in one fell swoop. So in other words, the motion is going down and then going back up. You can also stitch these from side to side, which I'll show you in just a minute. But drawing them out gives me kind of a good idea of how many zigs and zags I want to quilt. And because this is a fun free motion design, it doesn't have to be perfect. Now I'm quilting zigzag lines at an angle with my free motion foot. So because this is a geometric linear design, I could do this design with a walking foot, but that would require a lot more turning and it wouldn't be able to be a continuous design like I'm showing you. So I'm just going to zig and zag back and forth, kind of random and irregularly. And when I reach the end of a row of zigzags, I'm going to stitch back in the other direction, crossing over my previous lines. So I prefer the irregular, unmarked look of this Harlequin, but if you did want your lines to be evenly spaced, you could absolutely mark this all out ahead of time and then just follow your lines. You could also mark little guidelines or little dots to kind of evenly space it out. But again, for me, the more organic and free, the better. This design looks really good on its own, but you could also combine it with another linear designs for a more custom look. When quilting this design, it looks best if you stitch in between lines that are 2 inches wide or less. So these could be seam lines, or you could mark them, or you could take a larger area and you could divide it up into smaller sections. If you do have a wider space to fill, then just quilt more than 1 stack of Harlequin for added texture. It looks awesome no matter which way you stitch it, and it's a really fun design to have in your toolbox. Both of these designs look great on their own, or you can combine them both in the same quilt. These super fun designs are really great to quilt when you want to add some linear texture to your quilt, but you want to do something other than a simple straight line. So on the quilt behind me, this one is called ticker tape, and I have stitched some single ribbon loops in the background with a matching thread. You can't really see the quilting, but that's kind of what I was going for, texture over individual stitches. And I combined that with another design in the other blocks in a contrasting thread that you could see. It was kind of an experiment, and I'm really pleased with how it turned out. This next quilt I'm showing you is called U-Turns. Now, it's from the book I wrote with Angela Walters called The Ultimate Guide to Machine Quilting. I stitched ribbon loops in one of the fabrics combined with some other really cool designs to give it a more custom look that I mentioned. Now, I quilted Harlequin in a little wall hanging, which is a mini version of my frequency quilt from my book, Piece and Quilt with Precuts. If you can tell, I really like quilting these designs on real quilts every time I write a book or a pattern, so you can actually make the quilt from start to finish. I sure hope you're enjoying these designs. Be sure to check out the description box for links to everything I mentioned, as well as a really great introductory to this video series. Until next time, happy quilting.